Hello guys, welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be going over a new draft and doing a draft analysis of the ADL, the Apocalypse Draft League, I believe. So basically this is an Uber's draft league in Scarlet and Violet national decks, and it's points based. So yeah, basically that's it. Let's see what else is important. Terastallizing is banned on everything, so no Terra. Shedtail's banned, Revival Blessing is banned. Yeah, about what you'd expect. So yeah, let's get to it. As you can see, my first Pokemon here is Urshifu. Urshifu is... I just wanted to use it because it seems strong and it seems very powerful. It got a slight nerf in that Wicked Blow is now 75 base power instead of 80. Quite unfortunate, but it's still a lot of damage. I'm not sure that's going to affect many calcs. It might do. But then also, we actually also have a buff in that it now also gets Sword Stance, so it can be way more offensive if it wants to than the standard bulk up set now, so that's also pretty cool. So overall, pretty solid start. We get U-turn, we get Iron Head to deal with fairies as well, but obviously we do want a hard fairy answer. This guy's gonna run Van, it's gonna run Scarf, and overall is really solid of a mon. So looking forward to using it. Next up is our actual Uber. So we're given that we bought a really cheap Uber, we get another one, and I decided to use that on Arceus Fire. So Arceus Fire here, Arceus Fire looks really strong. It resists the fairies that Urshifu is really scared of. And also, obviously, well, I don't need to tell you what Arceus does. It does a lot of stuff. Can be Calm Mind, can be Sword Stance. And now it's got a lot of buffs as well, this gen. So it can do Dragon Dance, it learns Flare Blitz. So it can just do a lot of stuff now. Gets Recover, which is really nice. Refresh, obviously. Really good coverage, can run physical or special, and really fast, really bulky. It's everything. So yeah, it's a bit weak. It is weak to rocks, so we need to try and deal with that in the future. And also, it's 3 weaknesses: rock, water, and ground. We're going to try and patch up with everything else. And you can see that immediately with our next pick, Rillaboom, for 15 points. Grassy Terrain is now ours, and we can do... And now we're going to be building around Grassy Terrain. Yeah, the ground weakness is mitigated with Grassy Terrain because Grassy Terrain halves the damage of Earthquake, but also Rillaboom's really good because it's a great physical pivot. It can go U-turn, it can use Grassy Glide for priority, gets Wood Hammer for big damage. One thing it is missing now, it is Grassy Glide has been nerfed, so instead of doing 70 base power, it's now 60. So after Grassy Terrain, that is 91 base power has been reduced down to 78. So it's a pretty big jump, but still it's a really strong priority move. So yeah, looking forward to using it. What else to say about this? It gets Knockoff, which is a really good tool. And yeah, basically it's what you expect from Rillaboom. You can also run Subseed, which is a thing, and Taunt. So that's an option as well. So we'll see. Next up, we got Latias. Latias is another way to deal with grounds, just by flying over them. Our first Defogger, I believe. Does Arceus get Defog? Yes, it does, but we don't want to use Defog Arceus, so Latias is our first Defogger. It can set up, it can run Specs, it can run Scarf, it can run Stored Power. Yeah, what else do you need to know? Dry Passing is allowed, I believe, so that is there. It gets Bolt Beam coverage, which is pretty nice. We can use that whenever we want. Trick is a really cool tool. It's a Cleric because it gets Wish and Healing Wish, and gets Thunder Wave and Toxic for status disruptions. So yeah, it's a pretty great mon. Not much to say, it's Latias. It can also run Agility Weakness Policy, but like I said, Stored Power. So yeah, this is kind of our special bulk. Of course, Arceus is also very bulky, even more bulky, I believe, actually, but obviously we don't want to have to invest into Spadef every time, so we kind of want to treat Arceus like it doesn't fill any specific role. and so that it can fill the role it will perform best in every week. So speaking of, we have our special tank. Now we have a physical tank in Mega Aggron. I really wanted to use it just because it looks really strong and really fun. You can see this is an uninvested Mega Aggron, and its defense is already 496, which lets you invest fully into your special defense, and this way, after filter, you actually like take nothing from flamethrowers or mystical fires. This is basically a fairy killer. As you can see, Latias and Urshifu don't like fairies. Aggron just comes in and sits on their face. One of the big things about Aggron is that it doesn't get good recovery, but with grassy terrain, it kind of like mitigates that to some degree, and also removes the ground weakness as well. Yeah, this guy can run Iron Defense Body Press. He can run Heavy Slam. Gets really good coverage. Can run Curse sets even. So yeah, Rest Talk even maybe. I don't know. Plenty of options. Looks really fun. So looking forward to using it. Next up, I wanted a bit more speed. We had 110, so we have 97 speed in Urshifu, 110 speed in Latias, and then 120 speed in Arceus. So I wanted something a bit faster because there's so many fast things in this gen, that like Roaring Moon, Fluttermane, Cyclozar, that I really wanted something that like went above that. Or at least forced a bit of like, at least forced running at Jolly or Timid, and that would be Crobat. Crobat here is really nice. It's just a pivot basically. It's a really reliable defogger. Gets good disruption in like 100% accurate toxics. Hyper Fang, not Hyper Fang, it's called Super Fang. Taunt, U-turn, gets Whirlwind. Yeah, it's nothing crazy, but it's just really fast, and it's a really good pivot, so expect to see it. Brave Bird is really strong even on an uninvested attack stat. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world, because Brave Bird's just such a high base power. So yeah, we could see things with this work. Next up, we got Blastoise. So I wanted some more special offense now. Blastoise is here. Not only does it act as a slow pivot, because it can run Rapid Spin, Flip Turn, Toxic, stuff like that, but it can also obviously run Shell Smash, so Shell Smash sets are going to be really good here. Very few things switch into the combination of Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, and Aura Sphere, or Dark Pulse, and even fewer switch into Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, and Terrain Pulse after Grassy Terrain. So yeah, this should be really fun to use. It can also go physical, so it learns Earthquake, it learns Rock Slide, it learns Liquidation, it learns Outrage, it learns Ice Punch. So yeah, it can run physical, which could be interesting to try out, but mostly you run it for special. So that's going to be really interesting to use. Next up, we got another special breaker that's more immediate in Nidoking. I initially wanted Nidoqueen because it's a bit bulkier, but I got sniped, so we have this. So this is a special offensive monster. It gets insane coverage and Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, Flamethrower, and then of course it stabs, Earth Power, and Sludge Wave. The best part about this is that like as a mainly special attacker, Nidoking isn't really affected by grassy terrain because its Earth powers are not affected by grassy terrain. So we still have really good ground stab without having to worry about Rillaboom clashing with that. You can still run physical though. It gets Head Smash for some reason. Can run Focus Punch, can run Poison Jab, Earthquake, Mega Horn. It even gets high horsepower, so I can run that if I want to bring it with Rillaboom. So yeah, plenty of options. It's a Gen 1 Mon, gets lots of stuff, gets Stealth Rocks and Toxic Spikes and Taunt, and lots of good utility. Next up is my Electric, so here is Regieleki. I was torn between this and Xurkitree, but Xurkitree kind of is like... Xurkitree first of all got taken before me, but when I was still considering Xurkitree versus Regieleki, I really... Like, while I know Xurkitree can beat grounds, and that kind of was important to me, and Energy Ball was boosted by Grassy Terrain, and, you know, it's just a really good Scarfer. I just thought Regieleki is just so good in an Uber's meta, because, like, it just forces like no matter what, I'm always faster unless you run a Scarf. So I can force a Scarfer, and even only the fastest mons can run Scarf. So I might be able to force like some really fast mons like Fluttermane to run Booster Energy or Scarf, and that means they aren't running Specs or heavy duty boots or stuff like that. So I thought like just having it there is really good. It forces the ground every time, which I really don't hate because even though I have Arceus Fire, Rillaboom and Blastoise are just sitting there waiting to eat up that ground type. So yeah, also this thing's protected by, so Regieleki is just really good offensively. Thunderbolt, Transistor, Stab is really hard to switch into. Volt Switch is there, it can rapid spin, it can set screens, it can explode, and that's basically all it does, but it's pretty good at doing that. So yeah, not sure how many times I'll bring this, but it is there, it is threatening, maybe more on paper than in reality, but we'll see. Next up we got Carbink. So Carbink is my 1-pointer. I have a few more points. I have like 12 points at this point, but I thought I'd get Carbink first because I knew my later 2 picks probably wouldn't get picked. Basically just set screens and explodes. Not much to do. This does get spikes, which I don't have otherwise. And it's a pretty decent bulky thing that can switch into flying type moves. So, which Aleki cannot, and Aggron can, but it kind of struggles if, like, for example, Gyapdos appears. Well, not even Gyapdos. Well, Thunderous Kick kind of screws it over, but so yeah. Maybe I'll bring this to the Gyapdos matchup. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it, but yeah, it's pretty nice. Next up we got Regigigas, our normal type. I initially wanted something like Weirder, but I felt like Regigigas was actually better for its job because, for example, Fluttermane comes in. I'm mostly scared of Fluttermane because it's brand new, it's shiny, and it's really strong. It clicks Shadow Ball, and then Weirder just takes nothing, but then it clicks Moonblast, and it takes a lot. So I really wanted something that was really bulky, and Regigigas is extremely bulky. Slow Start does not affect its bulk, so 110, 110, 110. I can run AV, I can run, and even like a Slow Start reduced Heavy Slam is going to do a lot to a Fluttermane. So obviously I also get like Knockoff and Darkest Lariat, I think. Darkest Lariat, yeah, I do. So it's a pretty reliable Ghost Dancer. Maybe not the best, but it's really good for its price point. So yeah, looking forward to using Regigigas maybe like once or twice. Lastly, I spent 90 points on our mascot, Comfey. Comfey is just really good. It's another extremely fast mon, and not in that it has a high base speed, it has Triage, which gives priority to all its healing moves, including Giga Drain, Draining Kiss, Synthesis, and such. Another Defogger, another Pivot, obviously, always nice, but mainly I was scared of the box legends. So the box legends are Koraidon and Miraidon, and they were both allowed at max price. Comfey can kind of deal with them both. After +1, Comfey just one-shots Koraidon, and after +1, Comfey also lives a non-Specs Miraidon's Electro Drift, and also 2 KOs back, so it's pretty, if I can set up on it, it can beat the box legends, and hopefully, and if I don't need to set up on it, I can just chip them for massive damage. So I really think this is really good because the box legends outspeed everything else except Aleki, and Aleki, they can't do much to them, so apart from just explode, you know? So Comfey looked genuinely good here, and also it's a mascot, so I wasn't going to complain. So yeah, that's a team. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this team puts in some good work. Yeah, see you guys next time.